Hello, everyone. My name is Dara, and this is Dear Hallmark. We are still in the thick of Countdown to Christmas on Hallmark Channel. And as you can see, I'm not by myself today. Oh, no, no, no. We have a very special guest. You guys, please welcome John Brotherton into the home of Dear Hallmark. Sir, how are you doing?
Wow, thank you so much. I'm doing fantastic. It's a joy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for being here. So, since this is Countdown to Christmas, I wanted to start off with a Christmas related question.
Okay, let's
So,
do it.
what's a song every Christmas that you always have on repeat? You just have to play it during Christmas, or it's not Christmas at all?
Oh man, see that's such a great question because I love we always yell at Alexa around my house. It's like Alexa, play Christmas music. And so, all the old like Nat King Cole, all the classics
Oh,
are so great. I really do love them. And I love all of them when you get Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin or any of those singing the classics. But here's the thing, my kids, Macklemore came out with a song last year, right? It's like a hip hop Christmas song and it's fantastic. And like, so we played it on repeat so much last year and my kids loved it. And then it came back. So this last Christmas was its second season. So this will be its third season. So if you haven't heard it, look it up.
I have not.
It's Macklemore's Christmas. The name, I'll double check on the name, but yeah. So it's his Christmas song that he does with his daughter and for his daughter. And it's very nostalgic, but it's got the hip hop twist. And it's one of those fun songs that is our new favorite. So the old and the new around my house for sure.
Wow. I've never ventured into hip hop when it came to Christmas music. Like I listened to it outside of Christmas, but for Christmas, that's an interesting genre. I gotta check that
You're gonna
that
dig it.
song out. Yeah. I know for me, I love like jazz, kind of like what you were nodding to with Nat King Cole. So I've probably said his name so many times on this podcast, but I can't help it. Leslie Odom Jr., he's one of my favorites.
Oh.
His Christmas album, I actually play that throughout the year just because I love the jazz of it all. So
Oh
I
man.
his Christmas waltz song,
Yeah, I'm writing this down because I got to add it to the playlist.
it's and his voice, like it sounds like velvet carpet. Like it just sounds like
I
how
love that.
velvet carpet feels. Like it's
Yeah.
light, it's airy, it's amazing.
Oh man.
He has two Christmas albums out. The second one, which is a red album, is a little bit more poppy, but
Okay.
his first one, which is a green one, is more jazzy. So that can knock both the old and the new right there.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so you are no stranger to the film industry. You're no stranger to acting, because you have a pretty accomplished resume. I was looking down the IMDb and I said, well, okay then. All right. So what was it that got you into acting?
Well, hands down, it was my mom. I grew up with an artist mother who had such a love for the arts and entertainment and film and TV. Like around my house, that was the table talk at dinner. It was me and my mom talking about movies. At a young age, she was taking me to the art house versus like going to see the blockbusters, and we'd break down, the acting, the directing, the costumes, all of it. And
Wow.
so it's just what I grew up with. And then I started going to drama camp when I was 10 years old during the summer, which was such a hoot. I kind of came out of my shell in that regard. We, lots of classic theater games where you're pretending to be a tree or whatnot, or, to then also like doing Shakespeare and musicals. And so that drama camp did that for a few years. That definitely, got my love for it. And then put it on pause for a while because, high school and college, and it was sort of this thing that I always loved in the back of my brain, but I was very serious about like chasing some corporate America dream or something.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until going into my senior year of college that kind of everything shifted. And I realized I need to put the same energy into what makes me happy versus just what I think I am supposed to be doing. Yeah. Never looked back, jumped on I-5, went south to LA and showed up with nothing but the clothes in the back of my car. And yeah.
Wow. What were you majoring in college?
Business. Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to be that Hallmark stereotype, like that business guy up in the sky with the corner office.
That's it. That was me. And it was it. I saw myself like, chasing Wall Street or doing something like
Mm,
that.
yeah.
And there was something that, fortunately, going into my senior year, I had this internship with a company that was a disaster, and the
Mm,
company was falling apart, and it really allowed me to kind of step back and go, oh, wait a minute, is this making me happy, or should I reevaluate things?
yeah.
Uh, and sure enough, it took a full 180 and went a different direction.
I love that. Is there a musical or even a play that you did in those drama camps that was your favorite or you have the fondest memory of?
Man, well, Bye Bye Birdie was really fun musical wise. We did Into the Woods, Stephen Sondheim.
Oh, cool.
That was pretty fun. But I'll tell you what was incredible. We did um, Comedy of Errors, Shakespeare, but we did it in a way, and I was only maybe 12 at the time, or I turned 12 doing it. But we did it in kind of a really cool way where every time a certain character stepped on stage, they were played by a different actor. So
Ah,
throughout, it's like an old style of theater that our camp director was excited to like touch on, where backstage, literally you step off stage as Dromio and you're taking the costume off and then you're putting it on the next person. And it didn't matter male, female, size, weight, nothing. It was like, what it came down to is everyone had to embody who these characters
mm,
were. So like our rehearsal process, you're working with like 5 other actors trying to hone in who this character is, which was such a cool exercise. And it created just hilarity, because we really leaned into, I mean, the play is Comedy of Errors, but like there was a Comedy of Errors happening backstage where, once the audience was warmed up to it, it took the audience a minute to go, wait a minute, they had to really track costumes. That was kind of the key.
yeah.
But once they figured it out, we leaned into it, like where you'd be running out on stage, but still kind of changing. You'd be taking off last scene and putting on. So it's like the audience really then, got to be a part of the chaos. And it was a really unique experience on top of just having to, master Shakespeare, because there's no improv there. You can't wing it with Shakespeare. So
Listen, I majored in English, and when I tell you I stayed as far away as I could from Shakespeare, like I really much respect to those of you who even do it from a theater perspective. Because I took a theater class in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was just taking like random classes. And I took a theater 101 class, which just talked about like the basics of theater. And they were doing Shakespeare. And I was just like, I I can't. But I appreciate y'all, but I can't. So much respect to y'all who do Shakespeare for real, because even the language, the timing, like there's
crazy.
so many particulars, right?
Yeah, well, literally, anytime I've done a Shakespeare, whether it's a scene study or the whole play, I sit down with a script and a dictionary. And
Yeah.
it's like you go through the script, and I'm like, I don't know what that word means. Okay, I'm gonna look this up, and then I write a little definition, then I move on to the next. Don't know what that word means. And but it forces you to really dive into what is behind the language when you're performing,
Mhm.
which I learned so much just doing. I mean, he was one of the greatest teachers for me never to meet. I mean,
Mm,
there's no stage direction in any of his work, which is really interesting. So you're literally
mm.
just guided by his words, which when you can fall in and lean into it and really enjoy it, it taught me so much as an actor, just doing his work.
Were you able to continue into like when you got back into acting, fast forwarding, as that senior in college, were you able to still do theater? Like, is that how you got back into acting?
Exactly. So once I made this decision, I made this decision going into my senior year of college, and I had taken acting as like in college strictly as an elective because you had to
Yeah.
choose one like 50 different ones, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I still love to act. And I was like in a fraternity. It was funny. I was like the only like frat boy that was like in the theater classes. But it was kind of great because I like you know mended the two worlds. But going into my senior year, once I made this decision that no, there's no turning back. I'm gonna go finish. I wanted to graduate, obviously, but I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna wrap it up and then head south. I did every possible thing. I was in all like the school showcases. I was in all the school plays. I auditioned for the school, all the school plays, but and then community theater as well that was happening in
Oh,
Corvallis,
cool.
where I was going to school. So I like just absolutely went for it. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna re-fall in love with this muscle, and then I entered acting competitions. They're like college theater
Oh,
competitions. You get
wow.
nominated. for a play. I did Merchant of Venice, another Shakespeare play, and then I get nominated for this competition. So then, it's like a regional thing. And I mean, I just really tried to do, if my buddies were putting on some whatever, I just went bananas for it. And,
Yeah.
we were doing monologues at parties. I remember sitting around a group of like crazy college thespians, let's be cool and, make do some monologues, man.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, we totally, which was fun because I got the fraternity boys involved too. In fact, one of my fraternity brothers married one of my college
Well, look
thespians,
at that.
and they're married with kids to this day. He's my agent, he's my insurance agent, not my theatrical agent.
Still a good
Yes,
agent, nonetheless.
totally, still my agent. But yeah, so yes, to answer your question, I dove back into it, fell madly in love with it, but really committed at that point. I'd always loved it, but never thought of it as a career. And so once I I was like, oh, this is gonna be my career. Then I attacked it like a craft that I really wanted to just get better and learn, which I'm still chasing. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
at the end of the rainbow that's impossible to find, but you're always going to search for it.
Sure, we're always a student in whatever it is that we love. There's always so much to learn and gain and glean and discover, which I think is
Yeah,
the beauty of whatever it is you're passionate about, is that you can
100%.
never exhaust it and that it can keep bringing you joy for as long as you're here. So,
It's so true. It's so true.
yeah.
I was just talking about my co-star in this movie I just did, Lights, Camera, Christmas, Kimberly Susted. I had she was so emotionally available
Mm,
that it was like one of the first times that I had another actor genuinely affect me in a way that was so earnest and unpredicted. It was so,
yeah.
it was just cool. And I was like, wow, been doing this for so long. And the moment I just experienced with her, I've never experienced before, on a set. So it was cool. It was like, the student of the game just never quits.
Yeah. And can you talk about that transition into film from theater and what was there an adjustment? And if so, what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, there's the natural adjustment, the technicality of it, right? You got to bring
Mhm.
everything down. In college, we had this course called Scales that you had to do the same scene as if you're speaking to the back of the stadium, like in a massive arena, and then do it like you're doing a close up of on film, and how the
Mm,
different you would do it. If you're on stage, obviously you're trying to get to the back row, it'd be a different performance that, if you're here. But so the natural transition is the craft, right? So you're trying to
mhm.
have honest moments in everything. The technical side of it is then adjusting to, who's looking at you and how close they are to you, really.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Acting in film, Michael Caine's book is so good because he goes back and forth in this book from the nuts and bolts of acting, truly like organically, to then the technical side of how to make your shot look really good,
Mhm.
looking at it through the lens of the camera. And so, but anyway, so it was I think it was on one hand a natural transition, because in theater you fall in love with the craft and then you get, but part of it's just necessity. You move to LA and, if you want to make a living, it's harder to do it as a theater actor, I think.
Mm.
Harder to break out in say in New York on Broadway than it is
Right.
to try to find, in LA, it was I started in commercials. You just kind of start
Okay.
doing whatever you can. I was doing student films, I was doing whatever, just to get in front of the camera and try to learn the tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
And then, finally you get a break here and there and you get to explore like a character. And it's those are the good stuff. I mean, I always say my job is auditioning. Once
Mm.
you're on set, that's the bonus. That's the whipped cream.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Your first big break where you got to explore a character. Dive more into that. What was the character? What was the show? And what was that like for you?
Yeah, I would say my first break was I booked a soap opera. So it was it was like a, one of those classic situations that all of a sudden, I was still doing the grind, starving artist thing, slinging
Mm-hmm.
drinks, bartending, waiting tables, you get the call, you're like, boom, you booked the job, you're moving to New York, you start next week. So it was like Friday, I like wrapped up that job. And then like Monday, I'm in New York,
Wow.
on set going, okay, this is a new, a new life.
Yeah.
It was so exciting. It was just like, I mean, what an incredible memory. I was 27, and, you go from LA to New York, and you're all of a sudden you're living in the city. And, but, so I was actually playing a character. I was on that show, I did, I think 297 episodes of that show in 3 years.
My
You just,
gosh.
you just grind on those shows, which is so amazing. That's what makes it so fun. It's if you love to act, it's a year round, there's no time off. It was boot camp. It was definitely boot camp for actors.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
was so grateful to be a part of the soap opera world before it kind of, unfortunately, continues to shrink with the changing of times. But it was, I worked with just great people, and you work your tail off and you learn so much. So yeah, it was baptism by fire for me as an actor.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Yeah. Do you think you ever go back into it? Or
I honestly, I wouldn't, I would love, I was just saying this the other day, I would love to go do an arc on one of those shows, or just go have fun, because the reality is the material is so outlandish that it's a hoot. I mean, like, either somebody's kidnapped a baby, or is killing their twin sister, who's then not dead in the end, and like comes back as a different person. And like, I mean, it's so outlandish, but like, you gotta love it. And I did. I fully enjoyed it. You just lean into this crazy world. So yeah, I would have no, and I have such respect for the people. I mean, we were shooting 90 pages a day as a production, and one day, me and this other actress, Melissa Archer, had 72 straight pages, because it was just her and I doing 5 episodes of this one set. They basically had to build a set, shoot it out, and then strike it that night. So they were doing 5 episodes. Each episode has 6 scenes. So you're looking at 30 straight scenes, her and I, all day long. And it was it was a marathon. It was 8 hours of her and I just grinding, but like such a memory. And like, I am blessed to have had that opportunity to even do that.
yeah.
So
That's much respect for sure. Man, I don't watch soap operas, but I always hear about how grueling, for lack of a better word, it can get, and
yeah,
how not grimy, like you said, like, it's how much of a grind it is with
for sure.
soap opera, because of it's every day, it's new episodes, and it's 5 days a week. Like, they're coming on 1 o'clock, and you know exactly when it's coming on, who's gonna be there. So that's, man, to hear even that's crazy. So let's electric slide into your Hallmark
Yeah.
journey. How did that happen? Did you know of Hallmark Channel before doing your first one, which we'll talk about, Christmas contest?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, yeah, it's any household you go around during the holidays, it was like in the background is, it's kind of like the classic Christmas music. Then you also have to have the Hallmark on in the background.
Mhm.
It's all the warm fuzzies. So yeah, my first introduction. So before Christmas contest, about 10 years ago, I did a Christmas movie that was acquired by Hallmark. So technically, it was the first, it
Oh,
wasn't a Hallmark production,
yeah.
but Hallmark bought it and aired it on Hallmark. So it was a Hallmark movie called Help for the Holidays with Summer Glau. So that was like my first dabble in it. Like 10 years ago. And then time went by, and other things happened. And then when Fuller House happened, obviously Candace and I became close, and played a couple on the show, and then played exes on the show. And then one day she calls me and is like, hey, I got an idea. I have this script, and it's 2 exes, and I thought we could tap into the old fan base, and like go back to our high school reunion and do it all over again. We did. So it was awesome. She's the queen of Christmas movies. I mean, now she's over at GAC, and I just wish her the best. But Hallmark's been just so good to me. It's one of those awesome things that, like, anytime you run it was kind of, Fuller House had the same effect. Anytime you would run into someone that watched it, it clearly brings so much joy to their lives. And that
Hmm.
there's always this big smile. And it's usually also, there's a relationship involved. It's like, me and my daughter watch this, or me and
Mm.
my, grandmother watch this, or my loved one who's I mean, I've had so many, like my loved one who's in the hospital. We just want to watch Hallmark movies because it brings us peace. Um, I've had some just incredibly touching letters and specifically about watching Hallmark movies with loved ones and the impact it
Mm.
had, especially loved ones who, one in particular who unfortunately passed, but
Mm.
their whole final moments together were just sitting in peace, holding hands, watching
Wow.
uh, a Hallmark movie. So it's that part of it has been so cool and so rewarding. And for them to bring me back again and be part of the Hallmark family has just been awesome.
Listen, you all right with me because the Christmas contest was so fun. I was not expecting it because I don't have Netflix, so I wasn't watching Fuller House. So that was my first introduction to you. And
Aha.
I said, well, who is this guy just coming up there blowing up the spot? Like the energy that you brought to that character, I loved it. Could you talk a little bit just about your approach to that and how it was filming that?
Oh man, we had we had such a hoot, because part of it is we got to lay in. I mean, there's so much comedy in that movie, so
Yeah,
we got to lean into that a lot, and playing a character that's sort of larger than life, and which leads to the one I'm playing this year has another version of that. Clearly, Hallmark
I
called
can
me
tell. I can tell. That's
back
why
for
I'm
a
excited
similar
about it.
situation. But to play, this ex-star athlete and that, is hanging on by a thread, but just really enjoys the sound of his own voice. It was a hoot, and then having, Candace make fun of me in the moment, just sort of adds to the spectacle. So it was so fun. Honestly, we had such a hoot making that.
I could feel that. So let's go now into Lights Camera Christmas because as you alluded to, which I completely agree with, which I'm excited about, is that we're getting a little bit of that same energy
For sure.
in this movie because they have a little bit of a trailer and a sneak peek out. So I'm going to try
Yeah.
my best to encapsulate what I feel like your character is going to bring. So
Yes, please do.
okay, so you are the leading guy in these Christmas movies that everybody loves, and you are shooting this new movie in a town where this woman, I know she gets a break at becoming a costume designer, but I feel like your character is going to give this like roll out the red carpet for me. What is this? Kind of like just like you fill up the room when you enter it. Am I right in
I think
getting
you're
that?
spot on. I think you know
Yes.
exactly. You sound like you've seen the movie,
Oh
actually.
no,
So
I haven't. I promise you I haven't. But like that's and I loved like that. I love that energy that you bring to the character because I think A, it's needed, and B, it's so refreshing to see that on screen and at Christmas because there is a place for like the more somber,
yeah,
dramatic Christmas plot lines and stories. But at the same time, I'm just ready to just get ridiculous. Like I'm just like, let's just go for it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I
this is
feel
one you're gonna dig it.
yes. So can you talk a little bit about your character and what the movie is about?
For sure. Listen, this is a Hallmark meta movie. If there ever was one.
Yeah.
Uh, so you hit it right on the head. I play the quote unquote king of Christmas movies, and we're going to make a movie in a small town. Go figure. And uh, the chaos ensues when we lose our lead costumer, and our producer needs to find a new one. And we stumble across Kimberly Susted's character, who is so good in this. She
She's
is
a
so funny.
she's so
Her
talented.
toolbox, oh, she is so. Her toolbox is infinite.
Yeah.
Um, she was so fun to play with. So yeah, so my character likes to enter a room and have all eyes on him, and if they're not, he will surely take it over. But where I think the audience is going to fall in love is Carrie, Kimberly's character, makes him real, right? I think
Mm.
there's sort of the magic of Christmas can make things real, and I think that there's that theme happening here where, you know, you fall in love with the small town girl, but she's not impressed. She didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
She's not impressed by me. And at first I can't believe that she doesn't know who I am. And like her mom is a huge fan, you know, which I lean into.
That's so
But
funny.
but what it is like, it's like she makes Santa real, right? Because
Mhm.
ironically, I'm playing Santa in this movie within the movie. And it's so it's fun. It's a great love story, but you know, I think drama works even better when it's, you know, it follows a laugh. And so that's why I
Yeah.
think there's something about rom-coms that can really make you melt more than often, you know, those somber drama movies, is because we have fun. There's laughs. You're going to shake your head at me, you know. We were goofballs together, Kimberly and I, it was almost one of those things where like, man, we need a whole nother reel for all this improv we're doing. We know is not going to,
Oh,
you
I
know,
love that.
but like naturally, that's so much of it just gets cut because that's the
Ah,
nature of making a movie, is when you start playing around on set, and some makes it, but then there's others you're like, you can't have them all, you know, and the movie can't be 3 hours long, but because we just had so much fun playing. um
I love that.
yeah, we just played. We really did. We played. It was like song and dance the whole time.
I love that, and I think it can translate so well, like, it makes for a good performance because then when we see that you're enjoying it, we're happy because y'all are
Yeah,
happy because y'all are enjoying what you're doing, and it's not
isn't
like a
it, it's so true.
chore, you know? Like,
You
we can feed off of that.
when you watch an actor and you're like, they are really having fun right now. I'm like, you're so in. No, it's so true. And it's fun because in this movie, you see us, the audience also gets to peel the curtain back and see what it's like to make a movie. I mean, you're on
Mm,
set, so there's, you know, you see, you know, you'll be in the shot and then pull back, and then there's the lights and the grips running around, and you know, video village and C stands, and we're holding our script in our hand, and you
mm,
know, like the things that you do, they're touching us up as we're rehearsing and putting mics on us, and you know, all the stuff that goes on. We're at craft services having a snack, like the things that go on behind the scenes of these movies, you get to like take a peek at. And so I think the audience is going to love both. They're going to fall in love with just being able to be a part, be a fly on the wall, and there's, you know, a charming love story that we have some fun with.
Now, even as you describing that, I'm thinking, so there's literally like a world, a movie set inside of an actual movie set where you have actual craft services, actual trailers, actual village, actual like everything
Totally.
else, but yet so it really is like a meta, like
It's
a
so meta. It's like Hallmark has got meta. They just went Web3 on us. Uh,
what was that like? Like, was there ever a day where something got mixed up or like something got confused in the two, or was there a
Well, there was
clear
certainly
line?
that conversation. Like, we have a scene when we're in the craft services within the movie, and I'm like, can I actually eat this stuff, or like, is this gonna like, is this wax? You know. So they position certain things that I could definitely eat, and other things are like, nah, I'd avoid that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and then there were other times they were like, we're just going to use what we're using, you know.
Mm.
So there's a crane in one shot, and then the crane's in another shot. In other words, like we use the crane in one shot, and then you see the crane in another shot. So you know, they were able to do both. Video village was sometimes a fake video village for the movie, and then other times it's like, well, that's same props.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah. I love
um,
that.
it was cool. It was really cool in that regard, to, you know, just like I said, like sometimes we'd have our script in hand, right? Like that's something that usually you would never do as
Like the
like,
actual script for
you know,
the
well, I'm not going to say we had our actual script in hand, but
Noted,
there was
mum's the word.
a close prop version of the actual script. So
Noted.
it was just fun. It was fun not to worry about that kind of stuff. For
Yeah.
example, one time I had like sides sitting out, like sticking out of my pocket, which when you're walking around set, often that's a thing. Like you have your script in your back pocket or whatever. But then it was like, well, it can be in the shot because we're just rehearsing, you know, or we're getting ready, or I'm getting mic'd, or, you know, it was just fun. It was fun. And I got to wear sunglasses a lot, which you don't usually get to do. But like, you know, my guy's like always got his shades on.
I
Uh,
bet you play that up. You ham that up
oh, I
so much.
leaned into it. I'm taking it off. I'm cleaning them.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every moment of that.
So you talk about how much fun you had. What was like, if you could pick one, if you had to pick one, what was like your favorite scene that you shot for the movie?
Oh man, gosh. So there's a scene. There were some fun ones, but there's a scene where her and I. It's kind of when we first start to fall for each other, and
Mm.
she's we're going through a fitting in my trailer, and we were stuck in this trailer. We're shooting it. It's tight. But it was one of those days everyone just got a little goofy and loopy on set, and we just started having so much. There was so much improv happening and so much just like leaning into what we were doing and having a good time and laughing. And it was so, you'll know, her character comes up with a big idea that's like a game changer in the movie. I won't reveal too much, but in doing that, her and I just had fun. It was so kind of personal and close. All the crew was outside of the trailer because they couldn't be in there. So anytime that like the whole crew isn't around, it's a very personal, intimate sort of setting. And she's fitting me and we're just laughing and being goofy. And it's like, the first glimpse of our characters kind of looking at each other sideways going, wait a minute. So that was fun.
Yeah. So because I know that this movie is going to be filled with a lot of laughs, but like you said, there's going to be some heart in it as well. Could you talk a little bit about the heart of the movie and what the core message of it is for the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much heart in it because both her and I journey is heartbreaking. We go through some stuff at the end, and you can imagine me being this, quote unquote movie star, kind of sweeping the, small town girl off her feet, also creates such a vulnerable situation for her. So obviously, like, her heart is so fragile at that point because it's like this Prince Charming comes to town, and then, when maybe there's a moment of this isn't going to work out, it's heartbreaking. And for him, he also is the first time he's putting his guard down and being vulnerable to another person and allowing that person to come in, and how scary that can be as a human being.
Yeah.
To put your shield away and like just allow someone, especially when the whole world knows you as one way. And, so someone comes into your life and that you just have to like be yourself with, and it makes you yourself. That's the beautiful part. She makes him real. And so by the end, he realizes, all that persona is, for the birds. Like, I just want you make me real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's the good old fashioned, the way love can change you for the better kind of thing.
Yeah, I see that scene from Chronicles of Narnia where Aslan's like blowing his breath on the ice, and then the ice melts, and then they become like warm bodies again. Is that
Oh,
even?
you know what? You're right. There's that kind of moment. I mean, I know there's every Hallmark movie has, a certain, there's going to be a little heartache, and then tends to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
So not to give anything away, but yes, we get thawed out in
Spoiler
the
alert.
end. Totally. Yes. So, but even the cool thing is, even our happy ending in this movie has its own version of a twist because of the meta world that we get to toy with. So it's cool. It's fun. There's just enough magic in it. Keep you on your toes.
As with any Hallmark Christmas movie. As
Exactly.
with anyone. So, amidst the comedy and the goofiness of your character, was there a way that you personally connected or resonated with your character in both his strengths and or his weaknesses?
Well, it was really fun to enjoy the parts of the acting world that I do enjoy, right? So as my character,
Yeah.
he's rolling around set like, it's just enjoying the fruits of his labor kind of thing, and getting to and I, as an actor, love being on set. I mean, that's our dream has come true. So then getting to double down on that was just, it was so, I just honestly, I had so much fun playing this character. And sometimes people would be like, wait, are you in your wardrobe, or is that John? Like, there's this whole,
Mm.
because I was just like, leaning into it, having a good time, wearing my shades, roll camera.
Those shades.
We're just here to have fun. I'm telling you what, like, there was a sense of like confidence and swagger that the character needed, that I was able to just relax into on set, shooting a movie within a movie, for sure.
So what was that energy like? Because you're shooting a Hallmark Christmas movie and you know the gravitas that is like
Yeah.
Hallmark Christmas, but yet you're having like so much fun. And we talked about, like, we hinted a little bit earlier about the magic of it. Like, did you feel any of that Hallmark Christmas production magic while you were on set?
Well, for sure. First of all, if anyone's going to keep you grounded and cut me down to my size, it's Kimberly. She's the best, man. She's like, you're such a cheese ball, which was perfect. Is exactly what it was. But so we absolutely knew that what the audiences want, right? Like, and
Mhm.
that is, so you want to give them that love story, you want to give them all the warm fuzzies, and those are the moment, like, there'll be moments in the script where, like, okay, this is one of those moments that is going to make everyone go, oh, or like grab each
Mhm.
other, or so we're certainly aware of that. And then, but then, just being the little kid in me, there's those fun scenes where we were shooting with tons of fake snow flying, and it's like the magic of a movie, and that, and my care, like I said, it's like doubling down on that. And so, we're laying in a giant pile of fake snow in one scene, making snow angels, and like, that is not lost on me, that this is what I get to do to feed my family, is go play and believe magic land. And
Yeah.
they're just resulting in warm fuzzies across the country. So it's like, it's all gravy, man.
I love that. So I'm curious, what was, and I know it wouldn't make the movie, but like what was your biggest blooper on set?
Well, it definitely didn't make the movie. Kimberly and I were just laughing about this. We're playing around in the snow, and she, she and I had told her, I was like, throw the snowballs like at me, like, this is, we can't, that's like an actor talk. You're like, we got to do it for real. So we're like rolling around in the snow, and she ends up getting me like point blank with like a snowball in the face. But this is like synthetic snow. It's like essentially like, I don't know what it is. It's this like, feels like shredded, like almost like really light plastic bags all shredded up or something.
Mm.
But essentially I was like, and I like inhaled this like ball of synthetic material, whatever it was, which of course led to a whole thing. And so it's definitely not in the movie, but it was when Kimberly tried to kill me. The next day they literally had to bring, I had a piece lodged in my throat. Oh yeah, it was like little foam things, and a piece is like lodged in my throat. We had to bring a medic in. I felt so, it was so dramatic that, like, I'm like, but I like had to pull the producer aside. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry to do this, but I for real have like
Oh
snow
man.
like lodged, and it remedied quickly, and all good. Like, it was totally fine. No real damage, but it was certainly a moment that we laughed about. Kimberly and I just laughed about it a couple days ago when we were chatting about it. But it's definitely not in the movie. But yeah, and then I know there's, excuse my clock in the background.
That's
There's
okay.
when we were doing that scene I told you that we really adored, where we're doing the fitting in the trailer,
Yeah.
we improved so much and I, to the point where, I mean, they can only choose one. So there's so much for our blooper reel that day that I wish we had said it in the moment. We were like, man, they just need to do a blooper reel of this scene. Uh,
Yeah.
which I hope that somebody out there can do something like that, because it would be really fun. Because her and I she's so great. She just plays. She can just play. And she's so available to she has all her powers at her fingertips. So those were the two. Yeah.
Um, man, listen, you on the roster now, sir. This your second movie with Hallmark. I'm excited to see you in a non-holiday movie too, to see what
Mhm.
kind of
I would love that.
character they'll write
Yeah,
you, or if you're going to continue to be that big macho
maybe.
bravado, hear me roar type type of character. But I've been asking this of all my guests who've come on. So because we're getting a lot of new eyes on Hallmark or eyes that haven't been on Hallmark all year, they just come for Christmas. For people who aren't hip to the Hallmark vibe or who are watching Hallmark for the first time and they see your movie, what would you want them to get out of watching your movie?
uh I want them to laugh, honestly. I mean, I know that sounds so kind of either cliche or just like maybe it's not the most in-depth answer, but I think making people laugh when they're at home is, is such a gift to be able to do.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I always try to find a place for humor, and it doesn't have to, there's different versions of humor. There's versions of Fuller House humor that's like over the top and
Mhm.
but is just as fun to do and fun to give and fun to receive. And then there's more, subtle humor. And but man, if I can make people laugh at home when they're watching it and then get the like universal like after
Yeah.
some scene, I mean, that's such a winner. And I've just been so lucky to be part of things that bring families together between
Yeah.
Fuller House and Hallmark. So that and I think part of it's being a dad and having little girls that love all that kind of Christmas magic and all the fun stuff, and they love it
Yeah.
when daddy's doing a movie they can watch.
Yeah.
Special for them. So that's the big one, because everyone knows that there's going to be like a happy ending on Hallmark, and it's not going to, and those are the beautiful things. It's like almost
Mhm.
conflict free. It's like, but if we can add a little humor and laugh to that, then I'm stoked.
For sure. Well, sir, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by
You
the
too.
home of Dear Hallmark. Thank you so much. So, I before you go though, I want to just give you the space, the floor to kind of just have the last word, say whatever it is you want to say, whether it's about your movie, about Christmas, you want to sing a song, you want to read a poem, whatever you want to do. This is just your moment to have.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. I spotted you last year when you tagged me in something. You were so sweet and generous. So I just appreciate that
Thank
support
you.
and the support of the Hallmark fans. Everyone out there we're just so lucky to be in a position to put smiles on people's faces. So I think we all need it. We need it. We need a little spiritual boost, soul boost, and I think Hallmark provides that. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And tune in this Saturday, November 5th, 8/7 Central, Hallmark Channel.
You
Lights,
heard the
Christmas.
man. Set your DVRs. Set it to record. You heard him. Well,
Yes.
John, again, thank you. And everyone else, there's links and stuff in the description. My name doesn't matter. It's about John Brotherton right now. And Lights, Camera, Christmas. Be sure to check it out. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Thank you so much.